Hey everyone. So, with the MCU coming with a few new movies, and we know Captain Marvel's going to be in with our very own solo movie, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to talk about who she is and what's going on with her in the comics. So, let's get started. Carol Danvers is the daughter of Joe Danvers Sr., a former U.S. Navy officer and construction worker, as well as Mary L., a champion of the Kree. The two married, gave birth to a daughter. Kar-El is actually how it's pronounced, which means champion in the Kree language. Eventually, it was changed to Carol to fit in on Earth. When she turned 18, she turned her back on her father and joined the Air Force, intending to be a pilot and to get a college degree via the military. Her brother Steve's death in military action would eventually draw Carol back to her family, but she still never felt truly accepted by her father. She quickly rose to the top of her Air Force class, taking the call sign Cheeseburger, which is kind of funny. I really didn't know that until I really did some research on her. But anyways, while flying an experimental jet through the Arabic airspace, Carol was shot down and captured by a man named Ghazi Rashid. I think it was Ghazi Rashid. I'm probably really butchering the name, to be honest. But he ended up torturing her for several days, and she managed to escape despite a broken leg and serious injuries, reached a CIA safe house in the area, and provide key information to the intelligence community. Colonel Michael Rossi later recruited her to join the Air Force Intelligence, and they worked on the Rashid case together. Fun fact, they actually dated for a few years in comics, but it really never went anywhere. Carol accomplished many different missions and worked with other figures such as Colonel Nick Fury, also Logan, later Wolverine, and Ben Grimm, also known as The Thing, and while opposing others such as Victor Creed, Sabretooth, and Natalia Shostakova, also known as Black Widow. Eventually, NASA requested an open position as head of security, which she accepted, resigning from the Air Force, bumping her to full colonel at retirement. Becoming the youngest security captain in NASA's history, she became embroiled in the schemes of the interstellar alien Kree Empire. It was during this time that she met and eventually befriended the Kree soldier Mar-Vell, whose enemies would soon be responsible for her future transformation. The next few months were disastrous as she was kidnapped by alien robotic intelligence, the Cyber-X, and then hospitalized by a controlled Iron Man, who attacked the Cape. The alien Yon-rogg then kidnapped her while still concussed, and eventually battled Mar-Vell. During this battle, Carol was knocked into a damaged Kree Psyche Magnetron, a powerful device that could turn imagination to reality. Carol's genetic structure was altered, effectively making her a half-Kree superhuman. She was unaware of this change for months, or that was the original origin of her becoming Ms. Marvel. Notice I said maybe made her half-Kree, and earlier I mentioned that her mother was half-Kree. That was really the retcon I did. So she was always half-Kree, but now when I guess the Magnetron has made her powers come to fruition that were always dormant in the first place. So, joining the Avengers. After working several cases with the Avengers, Ms. Marvel, still Ms. Marvel at the time, was invited to join a team during the Scarlet Witch leave of absence. She quickly established herself as a valuable member, but left the team following a bizarre unwanted pregnancy caused by Marcus. And the reason I say it like that, Marcus, he claimed to be the son of Immortus. Marcus manipulated Carol into believing that she loved him and took her to his home in Limbo. Marcus's plot backfired when he discovered that he aged at an accelerated rate in Limbo. Carol learned how to use Immortus time-traveling technology and returned to her time. Upon her return, she angrily confronted the Avengers, expressing her resentment towards them, falling for Marcus's lies and manipulation. So, seeking peace of mind after the ordeal with Marcus, Carol relocated to San Francisco, chose not to resume ties with the Avengers. In a battle with the power-absorbing mutant Rogue, Danvers lost all of her Ms. Marvel abilities, leaving her with only her augmented genetic structure. Rogue attempted to murder her afterwards, but Carol survived, floating unconscious on top of the water under the Golden Gate Bridge. Actually, Spider-Woman rescued her and alerted the Avengers and the X-Men to Carol's plight. Rogue had drained her memories, most of which were restored by Charles Xavier. However, Professor X could not return the emotional bonds linked to those memories. During this period, Carol was a frequent ally of the X-Men. Later, Carol was abducted by the alien brood and subjected to evolutionary ray that triggered the latent potential of her augmented genes. Thus, she became the cosmically powered mutant called Binary. No longer possessed of strong emotional ties to people and the places on Earth, Carol decided to leave the planet and pursue new challenges as a member of the spacefaring band of adventurers known as the Starjammers. So eventually, returning to Earth, Some years later, Carol exhausted her cosmic energies to save the sun, and her powers severely depleted. She spent months recuperating at Avengers Mansion. Now known as Warbird, she eventually rejoined the team. Carol overcame emotional emptiness, alcoholism, and substantially reduced power levels, and a formal court-martial before her teammates to prove herself as an asset among the Avengers. She proved herself on many missions and was instrumental in defeating the time-spanning Kang during Kang Wars as a result of his son's, Marcus Kang, attraction to her. Carol stayed to help for a few more missions and eventually left to go work for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, where she was offered a high rank in one of the agencies. A short time later, Carol came back, finding herself working alongside the new Avengers. So Carol sided with Iron Man in the Registration Act for the Civil War storyline, where she and Wonder Man worked together in several capacities, such as chasing Julia Carpenter, a previous Spider-Woman, and the recruitment of the young Arana. After the war, she was given leadership over the Mighty Avengers, the New York branch of the 50-state initiative. 8 months later, Carol ends up recruited by Alpha Flight's space program to work as the commander of the Alpha Flight low-orbit space station, the Earth's first-line of defense, as well as joining the Ultimates. Carol's ensuing adventures together with the Ultimates provide her with a look at the scope of the different threats and that could endanger the Earth at any minute, causing her to develop an intense concern for the long-term well-being of the planet. Captain Marvel found a possible answer to her worries in the form of a newly developed Inhuman called Ulysses Kane. And for people who don't really know who Ulysses Kane is, he was kind of the key role for the Civil War II storyline. He could basically predict the future, but it wasn't always 100% accurate. And so basically, he possessed the power of precognition with an extreme degree of accuracy. Carol desired to use Ulysses' gift to preemptively tackle threats before they could even happen. However, her friend Tony Stark opposed the idea, doubting how effective Ulysses' powers and the morality behind using them to potentially convict people before committing the crimes they were prosecuted for. And so I'm going to kind of break it from here. And I do want to talk about some enhanced powers and abilities that she has. So first things off, she has superhuman strength, stamina, durability, agility, reflexes, flight, space flight as binary, she could breathe in space, energy manipulation and absorption, photonic blast, regenerative healing factor, molecular manipulation, self-sustenance, so not needing to eat, sleep, breathe, or rest just because of her ambient ability to absorb energy, energy construction creation, kind of like she can bring up shields, and she's also a master combatant as well as being a pilot. So she really has a lot to bring to the table, especially for Avengers 4, and I'm very excited to see her in it. So if you guys like this stuff, you guys want me to do more character explanations, who they are, or you have characters you want me to do, feel free to put that in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe and hit that alert button. Other than that, I'll check y'all later. See ya!